why do we use microphones in contemporary singing? You might think that, well, to make our voices louder, and you are totally right. The thing is, when you think of classical singing, look at this. When you think on classical singing, we are thinking about oftentimes vocal adjustments or vocal techniques that were developed, were trained, were taught in a time that we didn't have the technology that we nowadays do. You wouldn't be singing with a rock band behind you, a drum set, electric guitars with amps. However, you would need to, without a microphone, making your voice louder. If you theater with sound, sometimes churches, sometimes even outdoors, you would need to make loud sounds, and at the same time you would have to be able to sing maybe the next day, maybe the next week. You needed to take care of your voice so that what you're doing is still healthy. And because of that, classical singing developed in a way that all that the singers could do to make loud sounds, because again, they didn't have amplification, they needed to be loud to be heard. So all that they could do to be loud in a healthy way, they did. So we are talking about amplifying spaces. So we have the source, the larynx, the sound, the voice source. We have the filter, the vocal tract, or what we sometimes refer to as supraglottic pressurization system. So all of the articulators and structures that we control above the level of the vocal folds. Again, we have the source, we have the filter, and when we bring source and filter close together, we tend to maximize supraglottic pressure, and that's something that we do in contemporary singing, but that's not healthy if we want to make a loud sound. So distancing source and filter, separate them, lowering your larynx, raising your palate. And then if you need louder sounds, you can do that without hurting yourself. To a certain degree, of course. You need to be able to regulate all that and be mindful of the behaviors that you're doing. It's not like there is no limit, but what I'm saying is you can create louder sounds when you have adjustments such as those. Again, you're separating source and filter. You are creating more space. With more space, you can send more air pressure without hurting yourself. Every time that we start narrowing the structures, part of the pressure, the air pressure that we're sending, cannot go out. And that pressure that's not coming out from our mouths because we have the spaces all narrowed, will have a rebound effect. And part of that pressure will return to the larynx. In fact, that's a concept and the idea behind semi or semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. Exercises like lax voice, straw, or traditional exercises without any instrument, like and even the traditional lip trills. These exercises also use that principle of rebound pressure. Again, part of that pressure that's not coming out is returning to your larynx, and suddenly you have not only the pressure that you're sending from your lungs, but you're also having pressure that cannot escape through your mouth and or nose, and it is returning to your larynx. So we have air pressure coming from upside down as well. And your larynx, of course, has to do with that. Great for exercises because you're adding some resistance into what you're training. But because you're adding some resistance to what you're training, that might be not ideal if we're talking about performance. Training is one thing. We want the muscles to be tired. I want to be tired after this hike here, because getting the muscles tired will cause adaptation. When you're talking about performances, we want to give our best at that time and not to be extremely tired as we are doing our thing, because that might compromise the rest of our performance, and of course we don't want that. Now, because of that, again, everything that we as singers we could do to sing loud and still, keep our vocal folds, keep our larynxes healthy, we did, and we now know that as classical singing technique. When microphones became a thing, and now we are finally back to our topic of the day, why we use microphones in contemporary singing. When microphones became a thing, we started singing with different sounds. Like if I want a breathy sound, a breathy voice, and I want to sing something like, please forgive me. This sound, please forgive me, is soft. It's not loud. I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and even here it sounds small. Imagine if I try to sing like that with a full band behind me. So we have sounds like this. We have creakies, or the creaky voice. If I try to sing like this, or I'm going to sing, that's a creaky voice. Something that, again, of course, we have to keep into consideration that you're also hearing me through a microphone. My phone has a microphone, and I'm recording my voice through a microphone. So some frequencies will be highlighted, even through this recording that you're hearing. But still, it is small. If you try to sing like that, where you are right now, just, I'll try to sing like this. I'll try to sing like this. And the creaky voice is a kind of distortion that, in fact, if we try to add volume, if we try to add subglottic pressure, we lose it. Something else. I cannot sing with a creaky voice if it is too loud. Other distortions that may have more volume, like the screech voice. Still, if I'm thinking about being with a rock band behind me, playing out loud, my voice won't cut it. So when I think about microphones and their function in contemporary singing, is not only about making what we do louder. It's about allowing us to do more, to do different. I like to talk a lot about plasticity and how versatile a contemporary singer can be, because we're able to create different sounds with our voices. And all of these different sounds, when you think about their application in singing, again, they are only feasible, not only healthy, but feasible, because we have the microphone. Can you imagine a metal vocalist singing something like "Rot"? But then imagine that we don't have a microphone. And because we don't have a microphone, the band has to be playing really, really soft so that their sound is not hiding the voice. In that scenario, when the singer wants to express all that power with the distortions and whatnot, the band will be playing maybe an acoustic guitar, a nylon string, playing super soft. Maybe the drummer cannot do a thing because drum sets are naturally loud. So my drummer likes to say, whenever I ask him to reduce his volume. But the thing is, it won't do. Sometimes when we need that expression the most is when the band is playing super loud, and then if we don't have a microphone, how are we doing that? And then if we try to do something like that without a microphone, nobody will hear us. And if we try to be heard doing something like that without a microphone, that's when singers lose their voices. And then at the end of the day, of course, some of us inside vocal pedagogy will understand what's happening, and a lot of people outside will be like, oh, I knew it. Singing with rasp, distortion, or screaming, that's destroying their voices. Someone will be, that's the thing about belting. You cannot sing high if you have a nasal quality. It has to be space. Otherwise, it won't be healthy. That will destroy their voices. It's not about twang. It's not about belting. It's not about distortions. What's really unhealthy is not balancing well the levels of pressure. And one of the levels, we talk a bit about supraglottic pressure resistance system, but one of those is the psychoacoustic pressure. How we perceive our voices when we produce our voices. And being able to hear what you're doing and understand that other people, the people that you're singing to, they are also hearing what you're doing, is part of controlling that pressure. So of course, the topic today that we're discussing is microphones, but we could add to that discussion, maybe I'll do an episode of the singing hike later talking about that. But the function of monitoring systems, feedback systems like in-ears or stage monitors, they are also, I'd risk to say, crucial for singers. Because if you're not hearing what you're doing, how do you expect to control it? Yeah, well, when I think of what's the function of the microphone for contemporary singers, I would say that the microphone, it's what allowing us to be contemporary singers. All right, so use your microphone. And remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world.